Good day, dear friends. Today we will discuss a profound truth. As God's chosen people, you have been set apart for a divine purpose, but with great calling comes great responsibility. Every chosen person faces struggles in their journey. However, not all struggles are meant to reach people's ears. Sharing can sometimes lead to criticism instead of support. Vulnerability can be a strength, but not everyone has the wisdom to handle it. Share your heart with select people. Make sure your confidants are guided by love and truth. Silence can be your strongest weapon, your strongest defense. In fact, silence can be the most powerful statement you can make. In today's world, where everyone is quick to speak, share and broadcast every detail of their lives, the chosen people must remain aloof. If you are one of God's chosen people, I urge you to never tell these things to anyone. C says, in the words of Lewis, humility is not thinking little of yourself, it is thinking less of yourself. And sometimes the greatest strength lies in the knowledge we choose not to reveal. If you are visiting this channel for the first time, subscribe to the channel and type 111 in the comment to thank God. The depth of your relationship with God. Your relationship with God is one of the most personal and sacred aspects of your life. It's a connection that goes beyond what the eye can see, much like the roots of a tree hidden beneath the soil. Those roots are what give the tree its strength, nourishment, and stability, even though no one sees them. Similarly, your relationship with God is the unseen foundation of your faith, providing you with the strength to stand tall and endure life's challenges. When you build a relationship with God, it becomes deeply intimate and personal, much like the bond you share with someone you trust completely. It's a space where you can be entirely yourself. No masks, no pretenses. You share your deepest joys, sorrows, fears, and dreams. It's not about presenting a perfect version of yourself to Him, but about being honest and real. As C.S. Lewis beautifully said, we must lay before Him what is in us, not what ought to be in us. This means that God doesn't want you to come to Him pretending to have it all together. He wants the authentic you. In a world where sharing every detail of our lives has become common, it's important to protect the sacredness of this relationship. Sharing too much about your walk with God can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or judgments from others who may not fully grasp its depth. It's not that you should hide your faith or be ashamed of it. Far from it. Instead, it's about letting your actions and character reflect your relationship with God, rather than feeling the need to constantly explain it with words. When you allow your relationship with God to shine through your actions, it becomes a powerful testimony. People will notice the way you treat others, the peace you carry in difficult times, and the joy that radiates from you even when circumstances are tough. These are the fruits of a life rooted in God, and they speak louder than any explanation ever could. Think of your relationship with God as a garden. Some parts of that garden are meant to be shared with the world. A beautiful flower or a ripe fruit can bring joy to others. But the soil, the roots, and the tender care that go into nurturing the garden are private. They're the unseen efforts that make the visible beauty possible. Similarly, the quiet moments of prayer, reflection, and communion with God are what give your outward life its strength and vibrancy. When you keep your walk with God personal and sacred, it allows you to nurture it without interference or distraction. It becomes a safe haven, a source of strength that no one else can take away. In a noisy world, this quiet, intimate relationship is a treasure. So guard it, cherish it, and let its beauty overflow naturally into every part of your life. The specifics of your calling. The specifics of your calling are unique, personal, and deeply significant. It's a mission given to you by God, tailored specifically for who you are and what you're meant to contribute to the world. But as exciting and inspiring as that can be, it's important to remember that timing and discretion are just as crucial as the calling itself. Think of your calling like a seed planted in the soil. When you first receive it, it's fragile, still in its early stages of growth. If you dig it up too soon to show others, it may never get the chance to fully grow and flourish. That's why it's often wise to nurture your calling in private, allowing it to develop in its own time and under God's guidance before sharing it with the world. A powerful example of this comes from the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was given dreams by God that revealed his future greatness. Excited by these visions, he shared them with his brothers and family. But instead of being met with support, Joseph's words stirred jealousy and resentment among his brothers, leading to a series of hardships, including being sold into slavery and wrongfully imprisoned. While God eventually fulfilled Joseph's destiny, his story serves as a reminder that sharing your calling too early can invite challenges you may not be prepared to handle. It's not that you should hide your purpose out of fear or doubt. Rather, it's about protecting the vision God has placed in your heart. Every calling comes with its challenges, and sharing it prematurely can expose it to unnecessary criticism, envy, or even misunderstanding. People may project their own doubts or limitations onto your vision, causing you to question what you know God has called you to do. Waiting for the right time doesn't mean you're not moving forward. It means you're allowing God to equip you fully for what lies ahead. During this time, you can focus on preparation, prayer, and growth. God often uses this waiting period to strengthen your faith, refine your character, and teach you the lessons you'll need to carry out your mission. When the time is right, God will open doors for your calling to be revealed in a way that brings glory to Him and impacts others positively. By then, your mission will be deeply rooted in your heart, and you'll be prepared to handle the challenges that come with it. So, trust in God's timing. Hold your calling close and allow Him to guide you on when and how to share it. When you do, it will be at the perfect moment, not only for you, but for those who are meant to be touched by it. Just as a fruit ripens in its season, your calling will come to fruition at exactly the right time. Let patience, faith, and wisdom be your guides as you walk this journey with God. Your spiritual struggles. Your spiritual struggles are an integral part of your journey with God. They are the moments that challenge you, refine you, and ultimately draw you closer to Him. While these battles are universal among God's chosen ones, they are also deeply personal. Sharing them openly isn't always the best course of action, and understanding why can help you navigate them with wisdom and grace. When you face a spiritual struggle, it's natural to want to seek comfort and advice from others. There's nothing wrong with confiding in trusted individuals who share your faith and can offer genuine support. However, not everyone you meet will have the wisdom or compassion to understand your challenges. Sharing your struggles with the wrong audience can lead to judgment, misunderstanding, or even criticism that leaves you feeling worse than before. Instead of receiving encouragement, you may encounter skepticism or dismissal, which can shake your confidence in your path. C.S. Lewis offers a valuable perspective when he says, "Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point." Your spiritual struggles often represent those testing points, moments where your faith, patience, and character are stretched to their limits. In those times, courage comes not from broadcasting your difficulties, but from leaning on God for strength. He is the one who knows your heart, your pain, and the purpose behind every trial you face. God allows struggles not to harm you, but to shape you into the person He's called you to be. Think of gold being refined in fire. The process is intense and uncomfortable, but it removes impurities and reveals the precious metal within. Your struggles are part of that refining process. They are opportunities for growth, for learning to trust God more deeply, and for discovering the depth of His love and power. Keeping your struggles private doesn't mean isolating yourself. Instead, it means choosing wisely whom to share with. Sometimes, the best confidant is God Himself. In the quiet moments of prayer, you can pour out your heart, knowing He listens without judgment and offers comfort and guidance. He is your safe haven, a source of infinite strength and understanding. When you do share your struggles, seek out people who are grounded in faith, those who can listen with empathy and provide encouragement rooted in God's Word. These are the individuals who will walk alongside you, helping you see the bigger picture and reminding you of God's promises. Ultimately, your spiritual struggles are part of your testimony. As you overcome them with God's help, they become a source of inspiration for others. But until you're ready to share that story, it's okay to guard your battles closely, allowing God to work in you privately. Trust that He is with you every step of the way, using even the hardest moments to draw you closer to Him and prepare you for the incredible plans He has for your life. Your acts of kindness. Acts of kindness are powerful expressions of love, compassion, and generosity. They reflect God's character and serve as a way to share His goodness with the world. However, the true beauty of kindness lies in its purity, when it's done not for recognition or applause, but simply to honor God and help others. This is a profound lesson that Jesus taught when He said, "Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." Matthew 6:3. When you do something kind, it's natural to feel a sense of joy and fulfillment. Helping someone in need or brightening someone's day brings a unique satisfaction that comes from living out your purpose. But in our world, where sharing everything publicly has become the norm, the temptation to announce our good deeds can sometimes creep in. While there's nothing inherently wrong with celebrating kindness, it's important to check your motives. Are you sharing to inspire others, or is there a subtle desire for praise or acknowledgement? The message behind Jesus' teaching is clear. Acts of kindness are not performances for the approval of others. They are offerings to God, and the reward for these deeds comes not from human recognition, but from the Father who sees what is done in secret. This doesn't mean your kindness has to be hidden at all costs, but rather that your heart should be focused on giving for the sake of giving, not for the sake of being noticed. When kindness is pure, it becomes transformative, not just for the recipient but for you as well. Giving with no strings attached, no expectation of reciprocation or praise, allows the act to be a true reflection of God's unconditional love. It's a quiet reminder to the world that goodness doesn't need an audience to exist. It simply is. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed and care for it without constantly digging it up to show others, it has the best chance to grow into something beautiful. Similarly, when you do a kind deed and let it stand on its own without seeking attention, it can grow into something far greater, a ripple effect of goodness that inspires others to do the same. There's also a special freedom in keeping your kindness private. When you're not worried about how others perceive your actions, you can focus entirely on the joy of helping. You're no longer tied to the pressures of approval or validation. Instead, you're free to give purely and sincerely. Ultimately, acts of kindness are about glorifying God. When people see the love and generosity you extend, they are drawn not to you but to the source of that love, God Himself. Your quiet kindness becomes a testament to His goodness, a way to reflect His light in the world. So let your acts of kindness be like a gentle breeze, felt but not seen, moving others in ways that speak to their hearts. Trust that God sees every good thing you do, and His approval is the only recognition that truly matters. Personal prophecies or revelations. Personal prophecies or revelations are deeply sacred moments between you and God. They are whispers of divine insight, promises of what is to come, or guidance for your journey. When God reveals something special, it's often meant for your heart alone, a gift to nurture, reflect upon, and grow within faith. Yet the temptation to share such revelations prematurely is strong. After all, when something is exciting, transformative, or affirming, you naturally want to tell others. However, wisdom calls us to pause, discern, and hold on to these moments with reverence. Revealing a prophecy or revelation too soon can be like pulling a fruit from the tree before it has ripened. While it may look promising, it isn't ready to be consumed. Sharing too early can lead to misunderstandings, distort the meaning of what God has revealed, or invite unnecessary scrutiny and doubt. People might question your interpretation or dismiss the revelation altogether, sowing seeds of uncertainty in your heart. Worse yet, sharing prematurely could attract envy or opposition, as others might not understand or accept what God is doing in your life. C.S. Lewis wisely noted, "The truth is not always about comfort. Prophecies and revelations often come with responsibility. They are not just promises of glory, but calls to trust and obedience. Holding on to them with care allows you to focus on what God is teaching or preparing you for." It's a time for listening, learning, and seeking clarity, rather than explaining or justifying the revelation to others. When you receive a personal revelation, it's important to take it to God in prayer. Ask Him to confirm its meaning and purpose, and trust Him to guide you in how to act upon it. The Bible is filled with examples of people who were entrusted with divine revelations. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a powerful example. When the angel Gabriel told her she would give birth to the Savior, Mary treasured these words in her heart. She didn't rush to proclaim her role to everyone around her. Instead, she meditated on God's promises and trusted His timing. Holding on to a revelation privately doesn't mean you're hiding it out of fear or doubt. It means you're protecting something sacred, allowing it to grow and take root in your soul. It's a way of honoring the intimacy of your relationship with God. There may come a time when sharing the revelation is necessary, but until then, keeping it close allows you to focus on what God is doing in your life without distractions. Sometimes, the full meaning of a revelation becomes clear only after time has passed. What seems unclear or incomplete in the present may make perfect sense as God's plan unfolds. By waiting, you allow God to align circumstances, prepare hearts, and bring His purpose into fruition in the way He intends. So, treasure God's revelations with humility and trust. They are gifts meant to guide you, strengthen your faith, and remind you of His active presence in your life. When the time is right, He will reveal how and when to share them, ensuring they bring glory to Him and inspire others in the process. Until then, hold them close, knowing they are part of your sacred journey with the One who knows you best. Your vulnerabilities. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in truth, it can be one of the greatest strengths a person possesses. To be vulnerable is to be open, honest, and authentic about who you are. Your fears, struggles, dreams, and emotions. It is an act of courage that allows others to see the real you. However, vulnerability must be handled with care, as not everyone has the wisdom or compassion to respect and cherish it. Think of vulnerability like holding a delicate vase. In the hands of someone who values and understands its significance, it can be appreciated and kept safe. But in careless or unkind hands, it risks being shattered. That's why choosing wisely whom you share your heart with is essential. Proverbs 4:23 reminds us, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Your heart is the wellspring of your life, influencing your thoughts, actions, and relationships. Protecting it doesn't mean closing yourself off to the world, but ensuring that you entrust it only to those who are guided by love, truth, and genuine care. When you share your vulnerabilities with the right people, it creates a space for connection and healing. True confidants listen without judgment, offer support, and point you toward God's wisdom. They don't use your openness against you, nor do they diminish your feelings. Instead, they honor your trust and walk alongside you in your journey. These are the people who remind you of your worth when you forget it, who encourage you to grow, and who pray for you in your struggles. On the other hand, being vulnerable with the wrong people can lead to hurt, betrayal, or misunderstanding. Some may not have the emotional maturity to handle your openness, while others might misuse what you've shared for their own purposes. That's why discernment is key. Before opening your heart, take time to reflect on the person's character, motives, and relationship with you. Are they someone who consistently shows empathy and kindness? Do they respect your boundaries? Are they trustworthy and aligned with godly principles? Guarding your heart doesn't mean building walls so high that no one can reach you. It means being intentional about where and with whom you share your deepest thoughts and feelings. Vulnerability is a precious gift, and when offered to the right people, it can deepen relationships and foster mutual understanding. But most importantly, remember that the safest place for your vulnerabilities is in God's hands. He knows you completely and loves you unconditionally. When you bring your struggles, fears, and hopes to Him, He responds with grace, guidance, and strength. In moments when you feel unsure about sharing, pray for wisdom. God promises in James 1:5 that He will generously give wisdom to those who ask for it. Trust Him to lead you to the people who will cherish your heart as He does. And as you navigate vulnerability, remember that it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of humanity. It's what allows you to connect deeply, love fully, and grow into the person God created you to be. Guard your heart, but never be afraid to let it shine in the right hands and for the right reasons. The depth of your joy. The depth of your joy, especially spiritual joy, is a gift unlike any other. It is not bound by circumstances or fleeting pleasures, but rooted in something far greater, your relationship with God. This joy is a treasure, a wellspring of peace and hope that sustains you through life's ups and downs. However, it is not always something the world can understand or appreciate. That's why it's often wise to guard it, cherishing it with quiet confidence, and allowing it to shine naturally through your life. C.S. Lewis called joy the serious business of heaven, emphasizing its profound significance in the life of a believer. Unlike happiness, which is often tied to external factors like success, comfort, or pleasure, joy flows from a deep awareness of God's love, presence, and promises. It is a state of being that remains steady even in the face of trials. Joy says, "Even though life is hard, God is good, and His plans for me are greater than I can imagine." The world, however, may struggle to understand this kind of joy. It often confuses joy with naivety or dismisses it as being out of touch with reality. Sharing the depth of your joy indiscriminately can sometimes lead to negativity, skepticism, or misunderstanding. Some may even try to diminish your joy, whether out of envy, cynicism, or simply a lack of understanding. That's why protecting your joy is so important, not out of fear, but out of reverence for its source. To protect your joy doesn't mean hiding it away or pretending it doesn't exist. Instead, it means nurturing it quietly in your heart and allowing it to grow in the presence of God. Rejoicing in quiet confidence means acknowledging the preciousness of this gift and choosing not to expose it to negativity that could dampen its glow. It's about living your joy rather than constantly explaining or defending it. This kind of quiet joy can be incredibly powerful. When others see you navigating challenges with a sense of peace and hope that defies explanation, they're drawn to the source of that joy. It becomes a testimony without words, a light that points to God's goodness and faithfulness. In Philippians 4:4, Paul writes, "Rejoice in the Lord always." I will say it again, rejoice. This isn't just a command, it's an invitation to live fully in the joy that comes from knowing God. Rejoicing in the Lord doesn't require fanfare or public display. It's a deeply personal celebration of who He is and what He has done in your life. It's a quiet song of gratitude and trust, sung in the sanctuary of your soul. Let your joy be a treasure that sustains you, uplifts others, and glorifies God. Guard it with care, nurture it through prayer and worship, and allow it to overflow naturally in your actions and attitude. In doing so, you honor the serious business of heaven and remind the world of the beauty and power of a life anchored in God. Your prayers. Prayer is one of the most intimate and sacred aspects of your relationship with God. It's not just a ritual or a list of requests, but a conversation, a connection between your heart and the Creator who knows you completely. In prayer, you find solace, guidance, and strength, laying bare your thoughts, fears, hopes, and gratitude before the one who understands you like no other. Because of its deeply personal nature, not every prayer is meant to be shared or voiced in public. There's something profoundly holy about keeping your prayer life a private sanctuary, just as Jesus taught. In Matthew 6:6, Jesus said, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." This teaching emphasizes that prayer is not about performance or public approval. It's about sincerity and connection with God. By retreating into a quiet space, you strip away distractions and external pressures, allowing your heart to focus fully on Him. This kind of private prayer fosters a deeper relationship with God, one built on trust, honesty, and reverence. While praying with others can be a beautiful and powerful experience, especially in times of communal worship or shared burdens, it's important to discern when and how to share your prayers. Some prayers are deeply personal, meant only for God's ears. These might be prayers of confession, where you pour out your struggles and seek forgiveness, or prayers of vulnerability, where you reveal your deepest fears and desires. Sharing these prayers publicly can sometimes lead to misunderstanding, judgment, or even a loss of the intimacy they were meant to hold. Your personal prayer life is also a reflection of your faith. It's where you wrestle with doubts, seek clarity, and find peace. These moments are sacred, a space where you and God meet in a way that no one else can fully comprehend. Protecting this space doesn't mean you're hiding your faith, it means you're nurturing it. Just as you wouldn't expose the roots of a plant to the harsh elements, you guard your prayer life to let it grow strong and deep in God's presence. In your private prayers, you can be completely honest. There's no need for polished words or pretenses. God sees your heart and understands your needs before you even speak them. This freedom allows you to express yourself fully, whether through words, silence, tears, or even moments of stillness where you simply listen for His voice. Keeping your prayer life a sanctuary also helps you focus on the purpose of prayer, aligning your heart with God's will. When prayer becomes too public or performative, it can shift focus away from God and toward human approval. By praying in secret, you remind yourself that the true audience of your prayers is God alone. So let your prayer life be a sacred refuge, a place where you meet God in honesty and faith. While there's a time and place for praying with others, treasure the moments when it's just you and Him. In those quiet, unseen times, your relationship with God deepens, and your soul finds rest in the presence of the one who loves you unconditionally. Conclusion. Being one of God's chosen is a profound blessing, but it also comes with a great responsibility. It's a unique journey marked by grace, purpose, and the call to live a life that reflects His love and truth. Yet in today's world, where attention and validation seem to dominate every sphere of life. The challenge lies in guarding what is sacred. True spiritual maturity is knowing when to share and when to hold close, trusting that some of the most powerful aspects of your walk with God are meant to shine quietly, not loudly. Living as one of God's chosen isn't about grand gestures or public displays of faith. It's about the quiet strength that comes from walking closely with Him. Your life becomes a testament to His grace, not through perfection, but through authenticity. It's in how you love others, face trials with hope, and extend kindness without expecting anything in return. These actions speak volumes about the work God is doing in you, often louder than any words ever could. In a culture that often equates value with visibility, it's easy to feel the pressure to showcase your faith or achievements. But God doesn't measure your worth by how much attention you get or how many people applaud your efforts. His focus is on the state of your heart. He sees your unseen sacrifices, the prayers you whisper in the dark, and the love you pour out when no one is watching. These quiet acts of faith and devotion are precious to Him and are often where the deepest growth occurs. Guarding what's sacred doesn't mean hiding your light. It means ensuring that your light points to God, not to yourself. When you choose to live humbly and intentionally, you allow His glory to shine through you in ways that are genuine and lasting. It's not about being invisible. It's about being authentic. A life lived for God doesn't need a spotlight because His light shines brightest in your daily actions, choices, and character. As you embrace the blessing of being chosen, remember that the responsibility is not about striving to earn His favor, but about stewarding the gift of His grace. This means protecting the sacred parts of your faith, your relationship with God, your personal revelations, and your moments of joy from being diluted by the noise of the world. It means living with the confidence that God's approval is all you need, freeing you from the endless chase for human validation. Let your life be a quiet yet powerful testament to God's love and grace. Be the kind of person whose faith is evident not because of what you say, but because of how you live. In your kindness, perseverance, humility, and love, let others see the reflection of the One who has called you by name. And as you guard what's sacred, trust that God is using your life to shine His light in ways that are far greater than you could imagine. This quiet strength, rooted in His grace, is the true mark of being one of His chosen. As C.S. Lewis so beautifully said, "Don't shine so that others can see you. Shine so that through you others can see Him."